Most people underestimate just how much the beginning of their day determines the trajectory of everything that follows. Think about it. How often have you woken up late, rushed out the door, skipped breakfast, or started scrolling through your phone before you even got out of bed? By the time you hit your first real task, you already feel behind, scattered, maybe even reactive. That's not a coincidence. The first few hours after you wake up aren't just hours, they're the foundation of your state of mind. If you start in chaos, you carry that chaos forward. But if you start with clarity and intention, you create momentum that can carry you through the rest of the day. That's why structuring your mornings is not about being rigid or robotic. It's about claiming the power of intentionality. A morning routine is essentially a ritual of self-respect. It's the way you tell yourself, I am in charge of my life. I choose how I begin, and that choice shapes everything else. Psychologists often call this the principle of priming. Your first actions set a psychological tone that frames how your brain interprets the rest of the day. If your first input is negativity, comparison, or noise, you prime yourself for distraction and dissatisfaction. But if your first input is clarity, movement, and focus, you prime yourself for progress. What's fascinating is how consistent this pattern shows up across high performers, from CEOs to athletes, from artists to scientists. Those who achieve at the highest level rarely leave their mornings to chance. They know that how they greet the day determines the energy they bring to their craft, and the practices themselves don't have to be complicated. Movement, whether it's a workout or just stretching, signals vitality to the body. Reflection, through journaling, meditation, or prayer, anchors the mind in gratitude and direction. Planning, simply writing down the top 3 priorities for the day, organizes attention around what actually matters. These aren't luxuries. They're investments in presence, focus, and resilience. There's also a deeper philosophical reason why mornings matter. Every day is a fresh opportunity, a reset. The morning symbolizes rebirth. It's the invitation to step into a new version of yourself. And yet, most people stumble into it half awake, letting old patterns dictate new possibilities. To live successfully, you must treat each morning not as an accident, but as a sacred entry point into life. It's not about perfection, it's about respect for your time, your energy, your potential. Of course, skeptics will say, I'm not a morning person. But this isn't about the clock, it's about consistency. Whether your day begins at 5 a.m. or 9 a.m., the principle is the same. Your first hour should be owned, not borrowed. It should be intentional, not reactive. If you hand over your morning to your inbox, your notifications, or the demands of others, you've already surrendered the steering wheel. But if you claim that space, if you take even 30 minutes to move, reflect, and prioritize, you step into the driver's seat with clarity and authority. Philosophers from Marcus Aurelius to modern thinkers have emphasized the importance of beginnings. Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive. That's not just poetry, it's perspective. Gratitude in the morning reminds you that your life is not owed, it's a gift. And when you frame your day with that kind of reverence, your decisions carry more weight, your actions more meaning. So the question isn't whether you have time for a morning routine. The real question is, how can you afford not to? Because your morning will happen either way. The only choice is whether it happens to you or whether it happens for you. You don't need an elaborate checklist. You don't need to mimic someone else's ritual. You just need to choose a few practices that ignite clarity, energy, and focus, and then repeat them consistently until they become the natural rhythm of your life. The simple truth is this: your mornings are the lever by which you move the rest of your day. If you win the morning, you position yourself to win the day. And if you win enough days in a row, you win the course of your life. So tomorrow, when you wake up, don't stumble into the day by default. Begin with intention, with presence, with clarity, because the way you start is the way you live.